Hey my friends, it's your friend Kevin. Can I just say I love my little visits with you in the morning doing this, and I hope you're well. I hope you had a good night's rest. Let's get right to today's Divine Daily Blast. We're in Angel Numerology number 3 day, which is really about gentle guidance, reflection, knowing that the Ascended Masters and the spirits of your past loved ones are reminding you, me, all of us, that everything's fine and it's okay to have fun. The energy of a 3 is invoking the artistic side, our creative side, our inspiring side, which is really an ongoing theme with these angelic numbers. Now, if you're into tarot and you've got a tarot deck, pull out your 3 of Cups. You can also work with the energy of the Hermit card. That's introspection, being a mentor, going into your spiritual habits and traditions, or you can use the Moon card. What's really lovely about the 3 Angel Numerology Day is the energy and presence of a number of archangels: Azrael, Gabriel, Raziel, Jophiel, and Zadkiel. Some of the incredibly high level, high vibrational archangels can be called upon to sharpen and tune in our spiritual energies. So what else can I tell you about today? We are in the first quarter moon, which happens to be in Capricorn, and we're being asked by the moon, by spirit, what have you, just make sure you're taking the inspired actions you need to take towards your dreams, your aspirations, and you're actually putting in the work to heal any part of you that feels unworthy, unjust, not good enough, all of these things, knowing that you are worthy of anything and everything, and your desires will be supercharged. Your desires will supercharge your manifesting abilities. So what puts the brakes on and derails any of our ability to manifest what we want is the idea that we're not good enough to do it. And that's the biggest misconception, the biggest lie that there is. You know, we've all done it, whether that is going about a task like cooking or going about a task like cleaning. I'm using these domestic analogies as a way to show you that, you know, we have the intentions are high on the priority list. The follow through is where it gets wonky. And today's first moon is all about being in your self-worth, being in your confidence, being in your I'm going to do this and woe betide anyone that tries to stop me. But we're also the ones that stop ourselves. I've said this, it's a theme with my own life, so I pass it on to all of you. I knew at the beginning of the year, the end of last year, I had to stop telling the story that was not serving my higher good and start telling a story that would. And woe betide that things began to change. I began to stop looking at myself as a financial failure, to stop looking at my debts as being something that I should be ashamed of, to stop looking at the bills I was behind on as being the devil, because it was not something, when I looked at the intentions, it wasn't something that I said I would never do. You know, I now have learned that I now can work financially well. It's a struggle. It is tough. But then there are other people who are equally in the same bucket, where what's flowing into our lives is nowhere near what's been flowing out. What's flowing out is usually far greater. In other words, the expenditure is outweighing the income. And that has, throughout history, you can go back to the Great Depression not that long ago. Go back before that. We have the class system. Those who have and then those who have not. And along with it, you can look at the insecurity that goes along with it. And I don't want to harp too much on financial, but I'm using it as an analogy that it all starts with an intention. So here is a prayer that I use a lot. I am the governing presence, governing in perfect divine order, commanding harmony, happiness in the presence of God's opulence in my mind, my home, and my world. Sits right here on my desk. That comes from Dr. Wayne Dyer, from his book Wishes Fulfilled, which is a phenomenal book in manifesting. We have to shut out the silliness, the nonsense. I was saying yesterday, and the navigation for the week ahead, we are in the last trimester of this year. And the last trimester, when all the planets come February 2026 will line up in their new houses. The planets have shifted their cycles, and many of the outer planets have done it for the first time, I think, ever. This is our time to claim our spiritual prowess, if you will. Moving on to our isms. I am perfection unfolding, just like a rose, just like a tree, just like anything in nature. We are perfection unfolding. At this time in the northern hemisphere, the leaves are losing, the trees are losing their leaves because the sun and the warmth that fueled them is now moving down towards the southern hemisphere, giving light, love, and peace to them. So the trees will begin to go dormant. They'll begin to hibernate. They'll begin to restore their root systems as we move into cooler climates. Come spring, they will be perfection unfolding again. My point to all of that is we are constantly in the flow of renewal. But we also have to let go, release the leaves of doubt. I am an instrument of love and healing. This I know myself to be. An instrument of love and an instrument of healing starts with loving yourself and healing yourself. Forgiving yourself, understanding where you made perhaps missteps. And I'm going to reiterate what I've been saying for the last few weeks. A misstep is just an acknowledgement that you're now on the right path and making the right step forward. We can't make a misstep. Once we realize this is not the right direction, this is not the right energy, this is not the right thing, we just move forward. And on top of that, when we set about to look for the approval of other people before we make any kind of decision, that can be a misstep. We can all second guess anything and everything we do. But then get quiet, take a deep breath, and remind yourself, I am self-confidence and I influence through kindness. You're being kind to yourself by taking time out and getting to a place where you can be as powerful as you know to be. I am an instrument of love and healing. This I know myself to be. Again, be an instrument of love and be an instrument of healing. People who step into your life. Yesterday I had a random phone call. It was one of those spam calls. Somehow or way or another I picked it up. And of course this lady, very nice, asked me if I'd like to do something or another. I said, sure, why not? I didn't really have a whole lot to do. Well, an hour and a half later, I'm still on the phone with somebody else who was quite lovely and quite nice. And it turned out to be something for my benefit. So instead of being exasperated and frustrated, which I was for a while, I ended up realizing this was for my highest good. And this is actually what I asked for. I just didn't realize how it was going to show up, in what way it was going to show up. But it became something that worked out. Message from the guardian angels. Think of us as your dearest friends. We are always with you, loving you, from birth to death, life after life. I don't know what you believe in, but I believe we have multiple lives, and they just keep flowing and going. In this moment, I am all right. Everything is okay. If that's all you said constantly, that's what would be showing up, that everything will be okay. We're all going to have contrasts in everything we do. Other people are going to push their contrasts in our lane. You can choose, step over it, step aside from it, help them with their contrast. What can I do to help you? Because I got to move on with my life. Happy to be of service, happy to hold space while you get this out, but I do have to move on. And you stick with that. Might seem a bit cruel because a lot of people want somebody to hold their hand. They also want someone to wipe their nose. They also want somebody to do the work for them. Well, I'll help you because it looks like you need it. I'm not going to do it all for you. I'm just going to show you how to be self-sufficient yourself. Done. We have the Archangel Gabriel with her angel activation, and you notice her hands are on her heart. I should call her Gabrielle. In this lovely glittery gown. Hair all done and coiffed. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And the message is to get in touch with the inner child. Let the healing and the light reach all parts of yourself. The healing and the light wants to get in. We're the ones who's got to open the door and let it in. The child within you requires some tender, loving care. So let them come up to the surface and express all that needs to be shared. Hold the inner child with compassion and give them that radical healing they need. That could mean I'm going to get a pedicure, I'm going to go get a massage, or I'm going to take a lovely warm soapy bath. I'm going to light candles, or I'm just going to light a candle and sit quietly and draw in the divine feminine energy and draw in the love of Mother Earth, Mother Mary, all of that. Surround yourself with the love that you have, and only you can do it. Archangel Sandalphon and Metatron, they're here to remind us all week long, you've got to make the sacred connection. Basically, how I feel about this is there is electricity running through your homes, there's electricity running through the power poles in your area, your neighborhood. You're the one that's got to turn the switch on. That the power has been there all the time. The electricity's been there all the time. But unless you turn the switch on, unless you let it run through you, unless you acknowledge and realize that we're part of something huge, a network of love and compassion, peace, understanding, it isn't going to happen. Synchronicity, divine connection, and understanding the lessons that are coming to you are your messages of choice. All right, Gertrude, Beatrice. Oh, they are sitting, listening to me today. And it's like, well, you've got it all going on. Gertrude is being a little smart aleck, but she's, I like her fun. I like her frivolity. And I love how she is just sassy. Beatrice, on the other hand, is rather quiet, rather demure, and she wants all the healing. This is the card. Shine from within. Hello. Once again, these cards are lining up with unfolding, the perfect unfolding, the shining from within. The only looks are only skin deep. True beauty shines from within, and it's time for you to shine. This is a time of self-acceptance. All of these cards are talking about self-confidence, self-acceptance, and you're the only one that can be your cheerleader. The only one that can do what it is you need to do to get you where you need to go. And I think you should declare it. If you're declaring something and all of a sudden you just turn around and say it's not possible, you just put the brakes on it. It's almost like a vanishing act. We go a little bit further to source energy. What is it going to feel like, look like, and be like when you get what it is you're looking for? Fairy glamour in this card is a form of magic used to make something appear different from what it really is. It's viewed in many fairy tales such as Cinderella, Snow White. All of these Disney movies are made on rags to riches. So where fairy glamour is used by the evil queen to disguise herself as an old crone, it's the simplest form. So fairy glamour often includes using makeup, wigs, hair, all these kind of things to give the appearance of being more youthful in spiritual terms. It can mean you're showing one face to the world while keeping the true face hidden. And sometimes it's really important to do what we need to do. In other words, it really can be important to keep ourselves to ourselves, to honor the brightness within without going out and displaying it and being a show off. I hope that makes sense. So it comes down to learning to love yourself, but not in a selfish way, in a self-acceptance way. And once you're able to get into that self-acceptance, others will accept you too. So this particular card and all of this energy today is asking you to reflect on when was the last time you wore a glamorous outfit, you treated yourself perfectly, or you went to the hair salon, the nail salon. Because if you've been neglecting yourself, and you've been saying, I'm too busy, I haven't got time, I've got to do this, my kids, my husband, my partner, blah, blah, blah. You need to remember that making time for you, your confidence, your self-worth is absolutely essential. Even just scraping, or even just escaping, not scraping, even just escaping for a half hour, or doing what I said, take the luxurious bath, or do the things, pedicure. I like doing that. Tomorrow I booked a healing session with my friend Jessica, because little by little, bit by bit, piece by piece, these little frustrations that we go through in the human experience, they pile up. They pile up. And we have to get the loofah sponge and we have to slough it off to let it go. I think that's it for me for today. I love you. Thank you. And with confidence, love, and all the things, the inner beauty, you go out there and you shine. See you tomorrow.